Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Math with Mr. W. And guess what our problems are today? We're all about multiplication or division with mixed numbers. So we're going to be talking about division or multiplication with mixed numbers. Mixed numbers. So I'm going to try and multiply 7.5 times 2.25. And this is not a very nice way of multiplying. I could change this to decimals. I could have 7.5 times 2.25, and I could use that and get an answer. And then I have to change it back to a fraction because I started with fractions. I want to finish with fractions. But we're not going to do that. What we have to do is we have to change these to pure fractions, and then we're going to do the operation that we need. So now what we're going to be learning, though, in the process is one of the most beautiful things in math. So you're going to be talking to your students about this over and over and over again. How to change 7.5 to a pure fraction. And you're going to talk to them about multiplying 2 times 7 and adding 1. And, of course, coming up with 15 over 2. Now, here's where some things are lost, but many things could be gained if you just simply stop and say, oh, wait a minute, kids. Let me ask you a question. Let's take a look at this 7.5. Is that the same as 7 plus 1/2? And wait for them to answer. Wait for them to answer. If these two folks are exactly the same, then this answer of 15 over 2 has to be the same here. 15 over 2. And what that gives your young people is amazing power. Because what if it said 7 minus 1/2? See? And what if it said 7 minus, or add in the opposite direction, 1/2? Well, 2 times 7 is 14, minus 1 is 13 over 2. 13 over 2. So they get an answer, 7 subtract 1/2, really, really quick. Now, if I didn't discuss this earlier when I was adding and subtracting fractions, then I'm sorry for not doing it then. But I think I didn't do it because I was waiting for this time right here. Because this is really, really important. This is incredibly valuable. Because later on in their math career, they're going to run into things that look exactly like this. Only there's going to be a variable here or here or here. And they're not going to have to go, oh my goodness, what do I do with this? Because they know 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 is 15. They know that they can do that. And this is something you have to give them. Give them that power. Don't just pass it through. Don't just ignore it. Make sure that they recognize that they have that ability, because it's going to be really important later on in their career. So we've got 15 halves here. And they then change this guy to 9/4. And of course, now we're going to look for common factors that we can take and use. And it looks like we don't have anything because 4 doesn't go into 15 or 9, and neither does 2. So we multiply this straight across, and we're going to come up with something in eighths. 15 times 9. 9 times 15. Let's see. 8 times 15 is 120, so it's 135. Okay, so that's 135 eighths. And do I need to change that? Do I need to fix it? Do I need to change it by dividing 8 into 135? No, I don't. Because there's no reason to. That's what's important. This is a pure fraction, folks. No reason to change it. Now, what happens if I divide? Well, I'm sure going to get 15 halves here. And you know I'm going to get 9/4. But by now, our youngsters realize we can't divide by 9/4 because it's a fraction. We have to invert the divisor before we can do anything. The word reciprocal is still available to us. So 15 halves times 4/9. Now let's see. Well, we know that there's a 3 here and then a 3 and 15. So that makes us, this is a 5, this is a 3, and 2 goes into 4 twice. And we end up with 10/3. All right, so if we multiply by a mixed number, we change them to pure fractions first. Or divide, we change them to pure fractions first. Then for dividing, we have to invert multiply, show your work and your factoring if necessary, and follow through. And make sure they're showing their work right where the answer is. Don't let them put a list of answers somewhere else. Maybe convenient for you so you can run down the list of answers, but it doesn't help you to understand if that youngster is really working the problem out correctly. So make sure they're putting their work in one spot so you can go to that spot and know where it is. Make them put things in organized fashion. And as they learn to become organized, day after day after day, your class will be much better. I'm sure you force them to be organized when they write their essays for English or history. Make them be organized for math as well. You'll be a happier teacher. And later on, when they get to 9th grade, guess what? They'll still be organized. Thanks for listening. See you next time on Math with Mr. W.